Today's routine is going to work on your lower back, and what we're looking to do is aim at the two muscles that run down the side of your back here. Now it's quite easy for these muscles to become quite tense and sensitive, so all we're going to be doing is taking a lacrosse ball and we're trying to reduce some of that feeling. We're going to be aiming for around 2 minutes each side. We're going to be taking the ball first of all, like I said, and just going to be laying onto your back here. Let me just give you a few pointers before we start. So one of the things that we don't want is the overextension of the back here. So we don't want a really big arch here. Obviously, there is a natural curvature, but by adding like a really exaggerated arch, we're not going to sort of hit the area anyway. There's not enough pressure into it, so we need to have like a little bit of you imagine like your belly button being drawn to the floor. We need a little bit of that anyway. And obviously, overextension in the spine in this area is probably one of the reasons why your lower back feels sensitive in the first place. So what we're going to do then, we're going to aim for around 2 minutes each side. So we're going to start off there. I've put a timer on just so we're not doing it all day, but we're going to start off with some contract and relax, okay? So if you've done any other the routines, you should be used to this technique by now, but if not, we'll go through it again, obviously. So we're just starting off there, find an area that feels quite sensitive. And all we're doing then is just breathing in, and you're just using that breath in as a signal for your body to go tense. So you're just tensing the muscle, contracting the muscle into where the ball is, giving a squeeze. This will probably feel sensitive. And breathe out slowly and relax off, okay? So breathing in, your tense to go, is your cue to go tense. Holding that for 2 to 3 seconds, and then breathing out is the signal to release, okay? And this wants to be quite a slow contraction, and it also wants to be a slow relaxation. You don't want to just like go tense up quick, relax quick. Sometimes that could like almost take your breath away, and then you're not going to be able to relax into it and get that relaxing effect that you want. From down. And all we're going to do then is just move slightly to a slightly different area. Put that into there. Contract again. And relax, okay? So again, this might take a little bit more than 2 minutes just to do the bit here. Depending on how much time you want to spend in certain areas. But generally you want to hit each area around 3, and maybe 2 to 4 times, 3 to 5 seconds of holding, that contract and relax. Some areas might feel sensitive, so I'll go down the bottom of my back here. I'm not feeling as sensitive as it was higher up in my back there, okay? So just find another like 15 seconds of just doing this contract and relax, and we're going to move on to the next step there, okay? Okay, so the next bit what we're going to do now then is we're going to be coming up, and we're going to bring in our hips up slightly. So we keep the ball in the same area, and what we're looking to do now is what's called a pressure wave. So I'll just show you from here. So what we're looking to do now is essentially move laterally across the muscle here whilst applying some pressure into it. So you can go across, and it can be up and across there and down, okay? And this wants to be quite slow, almost like, imagine like a bit of an icebreaker rather than just going too fast and not really pushing through anything. So you just lift up there, and all you want to do is a nice slow side-to-side movement. If we just do 10, so you're just going across 1, up slightly, 2, and then 3 across there. Can move it up slightly again. 1. Good. So this actually, you might need to just sort of, as you move to the side, you might find that you need to readjust yourself slightly. There are occasions you might need to like kind of reset the ball because it doesn't quite sit how you want it to. Obviously you don't want it to go so far over that it comes onto the spine either. Just keeping it on the muscle. So we just do 2 more of those. Just a sensitive area there, pushing through into there. And just 1 more, okay? Okay, the next thing we're going to do then, keep the ball into there. Last bit, we're just going to go onto the flossing now. So you want to get the ball in place there, bit of pressure, and what we're going to be doing is dropping the hips to the floor here, okay? So you might need to find you need to come out to a little bit away from the spine to feel this. If it's quite close to the body, it doesn't, sometimes your tip and the angle isn't quite right. So have a play around with it, you'll see where you are. I think we just do another 4 more, 7. Don't know if I'm counting well, PT counting, 1 more. 10 there, okay? So we've done one side there. So let's move on to the other side now. So again, probably going to take us about another 3 minutes and we'll be done. So let's come into here, start off with the muscle. We're going to breathe in, tense up the muscle there, relax off. And if this feels too sensitive in an area, just go move like above or below it. Tense up. So for example, if I go here and that's far too sensitive, try it to the side, maybe try a little bit below it and then just work back towards the area once the areas around it become less sensitive. Sometimes they come looser and they can feed some slack into the area and actually allow you to work into there. So we're just coming to there now. Just like I said, you only want to tense up, hold that for like 3 seconds at most. Good. And then again, you can go quite. You don't want to start going up to where your rib cage is. Basically, that's below the rib cage. Inch or so below that is about as high as you'd want to take that. So another 30 seconds here then. And it's also, this is good because it doubles up with some breathing practice as well. You always want to be breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth there. Okay, so what we're going to do now then, we're just going to do 10 reps of the pressure wave. So we're coming, like I said, start quite central, near the spine, but on the spine, up here. And then we're just coming across nice and slow and then back to the center. Okay, 1, 2, good. And then if an area feels really sensitive, like you can't run over it, I would suggest that you go back to the contract and relax and just try and desensitize the area a little bit, or just get some of the tension out, just so you feel a little bit more comfortable putting a ball on it. Like if you can't even touch a ball on it, trying to run over and move it around, as you can hear in my voice, it's not the nicest feeling in the world. I mean, this isn't painful, but it's certainly, I can feel it anyway, let's say that. I'm sure you will as well. Into there, good. So just do one more. Good, and then what we're going to do then is finishing off with the flossing. So remember, this time you want to be like, instead of being like sort of really close to the center spine, you're probably better off being out here somewhere. Get into there, and then what you're going to be doing is dropping both legs as close to the floor as possible. Like, you might find over time that you can drop them a bit closer, or even just like sometimes like the first 2 reps don't feel very good, and then after like you get to 9, 10, you start actually getting closer to the ground. I think that's 6. 7. Just a few more then. Good, that's good. So that's that done. And you can start throwing in some, like, if you wanted to, you could do some like sort of spine twists after. You might feel like you want to sort of just lay and do some twists after, getting in these sort of positions, rotating, just to see how you feel. You could even, stand up, come onto your knees and do some rotation here. You'll feel this area feels a lot looser. You should find your ability to rotate, bend over, move, just in general, feels a lot better.